How's the west coast of Tassie looking? Doesn't get much better than that. Welcome out to the west coast of Tassie, guys. Today I am going to take you guys on a freediving adventure, crayfishing at a place called Granville Harbour on the west coast. I used to spend a lot of time here with my brother, but I haven't really been back since he passed, and this is the first time I've come back, so a lot of good memories here and yeah, things to reminisce about. Anyways, we'll jump in the water. Can't wait to get in there, see what we can find, and hopefully we get a good feed. We might do a little catch and cook on the beach later on if we get a few, so wish us some luck. Look at that water, crystal clear today, low tide, which makes it a little bit difficult in amongst the weed, because the weed tends to sit down low and all tangle around you, but I reckon we'll do alright. I've got a few little holes that I always come back to every year. They're places that me and my brother nickname. One's called Bunny Ears, the other's the Waterfalls, Dead Man's Channel, Bermuda Triangle. We had all these funny names that we had for all the places that we found the crayfish, which was pretty cool. All this weed that we have here we call crayweed, and it's just the habitat that they live in. You can see just over there on that rock there's some bull kelp, the larger weed, but they don't really hide in that much. There's a lot of that over there. They always hide in this crayweed. So we'll jump in. It looks so good, nice and clear. I'm excited to get in. I'm preparing my breathing here for my first dive. This spot is a small cave that I come to every year, and it usually has a few good crayfish in it. We never gave this hole a nickname, but I'm going to call it the body lock, because you have to shuffle your body up in it to reach the crayfish. This cave goes right back further. I'll have to be very quick to get one of these crayfish. Unfortunately, this time I was too slow. About the 30-second mark is a comfortable length of time for me to hold my breath. I was off to my second hole to see if I could do better there. This is one of my regular spots as well, and I just can't believe how many crayfish are hiding up in here this year. I'm taking my time to figure out which one is the biggest and which one I should try and grab. It turned out there are a couple of big ones at the back. These were the ones that I want to grab. grabbed two, but one of them managed to get himself free. There's a size limit on these crayfish to help it keep sustainable, and this one's a male. It only has two little flippers at the top of its shell, and the females have 4.
Yeah.
We'd got our first size crayfish.
There's a few already.
It's a big year. There's lots of big ones. There was a cave, my usual little cave over there had like 5 or 6 that would have been about that long, but they were way up in there. I couldn't get to them. This cray is slightly undersized, and lucky enough it gets to go back to the ocean. And all of these guys are just too small. Hi crab. While hunting down the cray, there's always some good abalone to be found as well. Most people use an abalone knife when they're removing the abs, but if you're really quick you can get them off the rock without too much trouble. I'd collected a good feed of abalone, but I only had one crayfish, so it was time to get back out there and see if I could get a couple more. had a rather unusual experience. While I was swimming back across the bay with my 5th crayfish in hand, I decided to sit the crayfish down on the sand in the open where I could catch it again. As per usual, it darted off when I tried to catch it, but I tried again a second time and this is how it reacted. Even after a small tickle on the belly, it had no intentions of running away again. In fact, it didn't really want to let go of me. I swam back over to the sand and placed him down for a 3rd time. This time he even began to follow me. I'd never seen behaviour like this from a crayfish before. Usually they flip their tail and they're gone in an instant. I think I'm getting a bit softer as I get older. As time goes on, it's getting harder and harder for me to make these guys a meal. And although they're extremely tasty, they're one of the creatures that I find very fascinating. I want this to be a small reminder to those that are watching that we only take what we need from the ocean, stick to the quotas that are given, and even take a little less if it's not needed. Hey? Really? Well, how many have we got? 4? Yeah. 4 in there. We've got 4 crayfish, and I reckon there's about 7 abalone in the bucket already, and we've only been here for about 2 hours. You got a real big one there, have you? That was the big one I got, who's bigger than my hand. It's a monster. We've just full-drived up to the Pieman River. We're at the Pieman Heads, which is where the Pieman River meets the ocean. It's a really beautiful spot. A lot of people come and get big ocean running trout, and yeah, quite remote up here. There's a few people about today because it's such a lovely day, but we're going to cook up some of the abalone we caught. We've just got the little gas cooker there, and going to put some butter and garlic on, just keep it real simple. We'll cut it up fine and have some of that. First I got to get these shells off, and that's the hardest part. What will we do? 3? Yep. 3 abalone. Good size. Now sometimes you can get them out of the shell without having to use the knife, just depends on the abalone. I put my thumb right up in the back. Sometimes they break away really clean. This one's not one of those ones, so I'll have to use the knife. Go as low as you can. Around the shell in a circle. I'm no pro at this either, it's just the way I do it. Got a nice big chunk of meat. Cut off all the black lip. This is black lip abalone, you can see that obviously, and Tassie gets green lip abalone as well. But, here at Granville, the majority of it I think is the black lip, and you'll find green lip up north on the northern end of the state, the island. So then you just cut it into small thin strips is what we're going to do. Thinner the better. See, this second one's actually tougher than that first one that I just cut up. Let me know if you've noticed that yourselves, those that have caught abalone. Sometimes they're not all the same. One will be really tough and the next one might be quite tender. Please wanted to cut up the last one, so wanted to have a go, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to get it really thin, that's all.
She likes it really thin. Rightio, we're keeping it real simple. Bit of butter and garlic. Soften the butter. Ooh, she's warm. garlic in. And that
Yep, that's it.
should be amazing.
Oh.
Here's the back side of it. We did forget the spatula. You want to have your pan really hot. So quick, you don't have to cook it too long, you just make sure it's really hot and cook it up fast. Alright, it's all cooked. What do you reckon, boys?
Good. Amazing.
What do you think? What about you?
Gotta go for the thin bit.
Good? Yummy. Let's try some.
Make sandwiches out of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. It's quite tender, that too. Key is not to overcook it. Once it starts curling up a little bit, you can see how it's kind of just gone a bit curled up. It's usually enough. You don't need it brown or anything like that. It's about as fresh as it gets. Three abalone for 6 people wasn't quite enough. Okay guys, we're back at the house. I'm going to show you guys how we do our crayfish. Here we have those delicious crays. So we got 4 yesterday. I let that 5th one go because he was just being too friendly and cute, and the older I get, the worse I feel about killing these guys, because I actually think they're one of the most cool critters on the planet. We've got the abalone all cut up ready to go as well. And over here we've mixed some minced garlic in butter, and we've got some Parmesan cheese. Okay, so you want the biggest knife you've got because they take a bit of getting through. This is the messy part, but what you do is you just cut them in half, start up the top, straight down the center, just work your way along the tail, kind of push down on it a bit. Takes a bit of work, like that, and through the top, and you open them up in half like this. All the yummy guts and stuff are in there. Alright, so in other countries they leave all this roe and bits and guts and that in them, and it can add a lot of flavour. We take it out, I don't really eat it. So yeah, it's just a personal preference thing. You probably should take it out in case the cray's got any bacteria or anything in it. Make sure you got a big pot to get rid of all this because it starts to add up. Straight down the center. Then you just want to preheat your oven to 200. And then you want to get your garlic butter and just lather the whole cray in it. The more the better if you're a fatty like me. Bit tricky trying to get it in there, get it to stick to the cray. I've done a bit of overkill there. You don't really need that much, but the more the better, I reckon. It tastes great. And then you just put your Parmesan, sprinkle that all across the top. A bit crazy on the first one. And one thing we did forget was some chives. We normally put a few chives on there, but that's pretty much it. And then you just do them in the oven for about 20 minutes to half an hour till they look good. We pull them out once they're at that point and we'll see how they're looking. Righto, see how they look. Oh yeah. Watch all the peasants start running in. What do you reckon, Hudson? You love seafood, don't you? You love crayfish. Get some abalone. Which one are you, we're going to get, what, half each?
One.
Half for you. I might go this pink flesh looking. Oh yeah.
They have a fair bit of meat on them.
Over a day. Big tail. Now before we finish up guys, there's just one more thing I want to mention. On this freediving trip at Granville Harbour, I was using my Olight Seeker 3. The Olight was awesome for some of those dark little caves where I was finding the crayfish. And I know I ran on about these torches, but I've owned the Seeker 3 now for about 3 or 4 months. And this is the first torch that hasn't fallen apart on me, so I highly recommend them. Now, Olight are doing a 35% off sale at the moment. I'll drop a link to their website for the sale, and if you use the Tassie Boys prospecting code, you'll get 10% off, which is a pretty good deal. So I'll leave a link to that below, and hope you guys have a great week. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up for me if you could. Share it about, and until next time, happy hunting, and I'll see you all then.